Hello, Flame community. This is Jeff Kyle with the Flame Learning Channel. The Subtitle tool was first introduced in the Flame 2024.2 update and has been gradually improved over the years to help make working with captions an easy and painless process. In this video, we'll be covering where to find the Subtitle tool, how it works inside of Flame, and how to export your subtitles. We can find Subtitle as a timeline effects here in the timeline, or as a node inside of Batch. While it can be used as a regular timeline effect on a gap effect or any timeline segment, its true intent lies with the subtitle track. Down here is the Subtitle Track button where we can add a special subtitle track to our timeline. The only timeline effects that can be applied to a subtitle track is the Subtitle Timeline Effects. This dropdown next to the subtitle track has two relevant options for us, allowing us to either add a subtitle track or load a subtitle file from the file system. That subtitle file can either be an SRT or an Avid Caption text file. We have options to force the first event to align with the start of the clip if the data from the subtitle file isn't quite lining up the way it should, or for the Avid Caption file, we have options to convert the frame rate to any of the standard frame rates. Loading either subtitle file populates the subtitle track with the captions based on the file we loaded. Now that we have some captions to work with, I'll double-click on the Subtitle Timeline Effects and head into the Effects tab. The Subtitle node is a simplified version of the new Type node. While we have our layer list on the left with buttons to add, duplicate, or delete our subtitle layers, we don't add subtitles the same way we do with the Type node. Instead, when we add a layer, we control the text with the box on the far right. We have a special on-screen keyboard button to help with special characters and symbols. To the right of our layer list is the Select Font widget, where we specify the font used for the captions with all of the same functionality we have in the Type node. Occasionally, when we load a subtitle file into Flame, we run into characters that are not supported with the currently used font. For that circumstance, we have a preference under Project and Fonts to specify a substitute font for characters that are not available in the primary font. Under the Select Font widget, we have options to bold, italicize, and underline text. We don't have the ability to deactivate the fill of the text, but we can adjust the color, opacity, size, and tracking here. Next to that, we have some basic shadow controls for controlling the color and opacity of the shadow. We have a background color section to add a rectangular background behind the text with options to either span the entire layer or just the text, which is relevant when there's extra space with multi-line subtitles. To the right of that is the alignment section with some familiar scoping controls to control whether the below alignment controls affect just the selected layer, all the layers in the subtitle node, all the subtitle timeline effects in the current track, or all of the subtitles in all of the subtitle tracks. We also have the selected segments option for when we're using the alignment tools in the timeline, where we can have them affect only the selected segments. We can align the subtitles to action safety, title safety, or to a custom position that we specify. Our paragraph justification options are here as well, where we can justify left, center, or right. Just as we have alignment scoping, we also have attribute scoping at the top center with this dropdown, giving us options to adjust all of the text, shadow, and background settings for the selected layer, all layers, selected segments, the current track, or all tracks. On the far right, we have a range section to specify the duration of the subtitle numerically as opposed to editorially in the timeline. Here in the timeline, this far right dropdown is the attribute scoping control, letting us adjust the attributes across the whole sequence without having to go back into the Effects tab. Clicking on this Setup button on the left brings us to this Rendering tab, where we can see that my hardware anti-aliasing settings are on by default, but we can increase the software anti-aliasing if we want. In the Preferences under User and Tools and Timeline Effects, we have two Subtitle Preferences. One to control the warning threshold, where the subtitle is highlighted in red when it's shorter than the specified threshold here. The default is 30 characters per second, but it can be adjusted to whichever value we'd like. When a subtitle's duration is too short based on that threshold, the subtitle segment text is highlighted red, letting us know we might consider making it a longer duration or splitting it into 2 subtitles. The other preference allows us to display smart quotes, which are the curly version of quotes for certain fonts that allow them. When it comes to exporting subtitles, we have a few options. We can either context click on the subtitle track and choose Export Subtitles as SRT file, where we have a number of options for how we export the SRT. When we export a snapshot, we have this Include Subtitles button to burn them into the single frame snapshot. And finally, when we go to export a sequence with subtitles in the Subtitles track, we have this Include Subtitles option, giving us the ability to either export the subtitles as an SRT or burn them into the image as they're displayed in the timeline. And if we have multiple subtitle tracks, we can specify which one is exported when they're burned in, or choose to export one or all of them as SRTs. If you like these videos and you're finding them helpful, please subscribe to the Flame Learning channel and click the bell to stay notified about new content. Feel free to comment any questions or suggestions below. Until next time, thanks a bunch for watching.